NFC Championship game is the owner and founder and former NFLer Jerry Richardson. Hits the drum on the field, keep pounding. That's what they say around here. Linus had his security blanket. Troy and I have him. Mike Pereira, a rules expert. Bill Vinovich is our referee in this game. You can almost throw out the regular season numbers for Vinovich because it's an all-star crew.
But what you can't throw out is we probably won't have very many penalties. Penalties in the playoffs going into the day, down 30%, more than 2 holding calls less per game. So I think, is that a result of a crew concept being all-star, or is it the fact that 2 of today's teams, both teams, are 2 of the lowest penalized teams in the league?
Maybe there's no coincidence that they end up as the final 2 in the NFC. Spanish language broadcast available on both Fox Deportes and by utilizing SAP on our broadcast. Arizona won the toss. They receive. Early look at Carson Palmer as Gano drives it. Tied for the league lead in touchbacks, and Gano pounds it out of the back of the end zone. And here comes Carson Palmer. You know the story by now and all the conversation about the year he had. He finally won his first playoff game. There's his number since 2014. Troy has been through 2 ACL tears. He's been through nerve damage in his shoulder that went down into his throwing hand. He did enough to get the win last week over Green Bay. What kind of gut feel did you get when we met with him yesterday?
Well, I got the feeling that they're going to cut it loose, but this notion that just because he finally got a playoff win, that's going to settle him down and not create any butterflies today, I think that's a mistake.
From the 20, it's a handoff to the rookie, David Johnson. He gets maybe a yard, and they love him. Cam Newton calls that kid Captain America. His name is Luke Kuechly, and he may very well be the best linebacker in the NFL. Here's the offensive line. A big upgrade over a year ago for the Arizona Cardinals is the Pro Bowler Mike Iupati.
Yeah, I think those 3 interior guys, they have their work cut out for them in this ball game, and whether or not they're going to be able to afford Carson Palmer time to take advantage of some of the matchups that he likes out there at the skill position.
Here's a toss to Johnson running right. Finnegan up from the secondary to make the stop. And it'll be 3rd down and relatively long, a gain of 2 by David Johnson. This defense is terrific up front. Remember K'Wan Short. We'll talk about him seemingly all night long.
Well, you look at that defensive front. They really set the tone last week in that win against Seattle. And here on the first 2 plays of this game, Arizona wanting to get that running game going, struggled with it last week. And they've got nothing to show for it after 2 snaps.
3rd down and 7. Palmer protected, airs it out too high for Michael Floyd, and he had Floyd who found the void in that zone defense, and Palmer overshot him.
Yeah, and that's how he started last week's game. Carson Palmer's not a guy who usually misses high. He's able to drive the ball into those windows, and yet his first pass of today's game, it sails on him once again.
Drew Butler to punt, 3 and out to start the day for Arizona in their 2nd champ game. The former Cardinal Ginn with a little room to run. And that room closed down in a hurry. Fua was in there to make the stop after a 6-yard return. And now we will watch Cam Newton, who gets a reaction from anybody watching NFL games. And what he told us is when his career is over, he wants to be able to look back and say, when I played, I had fun. And I don't think anybody has more fun playing this game than number 1 for Carolina.
Not only did he want to look back and say that he had fun, but he wants those that are watching him now to see that he's having fun. I don't think anybody questions how much fun he's having playing this position, and he should. When you consider the year that he has had, it's been a pretty amazing year for him.
First quarterback to have 30 or more touchdown passes, 10 or more rushing touchdowns. Handoff is to Stewart. And Stewart, who started last week's game with that 59-yard carry against Seattle, gets 4 this time as Morrow makes the stop. We look at this offensive line. That kid at right guard is good. He's only 22 years old. but it centers around Ryan Khalil.
Yeah, he's the leader up front. He's the one who sets protections, makes the calls, helps out Cam Newton. This offensive line really has been the heartbeat of this football team this year.
2nd and 6, first throw, pass caught, Corey Brown. And in 2 plays inside Arizona territory, that one good for 14 yards.
Well, it's a well-run route. Cam Newton has time in the pocket, and with the man coverages, you're going to see a lot of that from Arizona. Things opened up right in the middle of the field, right in front of Cam Newton, and it's just a matter of driving the ball in.
This Arizona defense lost a tremendous player in Tyrann Mathieu. And he went on IR, tearing his ACL late in the game at Philadelphia on the 20th of December. They're still trying to patch that hole. Here's Cam. He keeps it instead of handing it to Whitaker. And Cam fights forward for a yard and a half. Kevin Minter is in on the stop. This defense is coordinated by a 37-year-old James Betcher. Calais Campbell was there when the Arizona Cardinals went to the Super Bowl in the 2008 season. How about Deone Buchanan? He is a little inside linebacker, but man, is he tough.
Yeah, he's tough. We talked to him last night. He says he just loves being around the football, and it's pretty obvious. He was drafted as a safety, but for a 210-pound linebacker now, he is as physical as there is.
2nd and 9, 4 men on the rush. Newton to the sideline. That's Ginn. And the Arizona Cardinal for 1 year, Ted Ginn, has 13 yards and a first down.
This is probably going to be a matchup that we're going to see throughout this game. Patrick Peterson matching up on Ted Ginn, and Ted Ginn has terrific speed, and once you get a guy threatened down the field, it's hard then to come out of that and cover, and you see the separation that Ginn is able to create by threatening Patrick Peterson deep.
Did not have a catch a week ago against the Seahawks.
So right out the bat, Cam Newton going after their best corner, and Peterson.
From the 35, out of the backfield, it's Stewart. And a quick tackle by Peterson. A gain of 3. Jonathan Stewart missed the final 3 games with a sprained foot. Been dealing with an ankle injury he suffered here at home against Seattle last week. And Ron Rivera, boy, has he grown as a head coach in his 5th year. Survived a 7-9 season, year 2. His team is rolling. 2nd and 7. Kacheru. Good move and a nice spin as Buchanan makes the tackle, a gain of 5. And then on the other side, there's Bruce Arians, who is 63 years old, 1-1 in his career in the postseason. Finally got a chance in the NFL as the fill-in head coach for the cancer-battling Chuck Pagano a couple of years ago in Indianapolis. Year 3 in Arizona. And his big phrase is no risk it, no biscuit. He likes to push it offensively and defensively. Here's a 3rd and 2. Newton. Incomplete, broken up by Jefferson as he got the hand in there to knock it away from Greg Olsen, and that's a nice stop on 3rd and short.
And Tony Jefferson, he's had to do more with the injury to Tyrann Mathieu, and they run the slant route to Greg Olsen, and he's their leading receiver. Excellent coverage. Has the right hand on Olsen. Good no call in my opinion. But they split him out, do a lot of different things with him. He's a tough matchup, but Jefferson plays it beautifully.
You know, from 45 yards and having a tough time on special teams, Arizona has to take a timeout. And that won't sit well with BA, as they call him. And if Cam Newton has fun playing the position of quarterback, I don't think anybody's having more fun playing the role of head coach than Bruce Arians. Man, he lets it hang out. And he has a great quote. But when we talked to Carson Palmer, he said he is not what you guys think he is. You think he's the fun uncle at the party, the guy you want to hang out with in the corner. Maybe that's the case at a party, but for this team, he is a grinder, and he's hard on him.
He's intense. I mean, he wants it done his way, and he demands that it gets done that way, and he lets you know if it doesn't. But when you talk to the players, both with the Cardinals and then those that he's coached elsewhere, Boy, they all love playing for him. He's very honest, very direct, and he gets his point across.
So 45 yards from Gano. Had a great year. 30 for 36, and this one is good. And the first points put up by a smiling Graham Gano. Here at home, the #1 seeded Panthers lead 3-0.